No Recipe Required. I got one of my favorites for you tonight, beef tenderloin. Now, I cook filet mignon all the time. It's absolutely one of my favorites. Some of my most popular videos on the website is filet mignon. Beef tenderloin is where the filet mignon comes from. It's the whole tenderloin. It comes kind of right here on the back of the cow. It's one of those muscles that doesn't move very much as the cow moves around the field chomping his hay. And so it's super tender. Not the most flavorful cut of beef, but really, absolutely perfectly tender, wonderful to cook. And when you do these whole roasts, I think like celebration, New Year's Eve. I'm actually doing this one New Year's Eve, so I think it's perfect for any of those kinds of days, but it's also great for a party. I'm gonna do mine with a little bit of garlic, rosemary. We'll slice it up at the end. I like cooking mine to kind of a medium rare, nice and tender inside. Not a lot of fat on the cut, so I like to keep it around that temperature, but you can go lower, you can go higher. We'll talk about how to do that. Most important, let's get cooking. Okay guys, so we got our beef tenderloin roast here. I just opened mine up. Now I'd have the butcher kind of cut it specifically for me. The actual roast is a little bit bigger than this. This is the size I want. This is about 3 pounds. And this is, this is the mother of filet mignon steaks, right? This is the whole roast, one big muscle. There's 2 per cow. And these, you cut it here, you get a nice steak right there. That would be like 1 nice big fillet, 2, 3, maybe 4 fillets out of this roast. But in addition to cooking filet mignon, you can cook it whole. One of my absolutely favorite methods. You get super crust. It's beautiful presentation. Now, what I'm going to do, I just took mine out of the fridge. You don't really need to marinate it, but I'm going to go ahead and marinate mine with just a little bit of garlic. Let's clean up a little bit. A little bit of chopped garlic. Now, this is just a few cloves of garlic that I coarsely chopped up. I'm going to throw those in there. And a little bit of thyme and rosemary. I'm just going to break up the herbs as I toss them in. And that's just going to give a little bit of flavor. Filet's not one where you want to like throw balsamic vinegar or anything, super flavorful in there. It's not really going to do the meat justice. You want to kind of treat it pretty lightly. And I'm just going to, there's a little bit of olive oil. I'm just going to go ahead and move it around, get that garlic mixed with the olive oil and those herbs, and just let this sit for, I'd do like 2 to 5 hours, something like that. Again, not something you need to do overnight. It's pretty mild flavored meat, and you don't need to, you don't really need to over marinate it. Okay, so my beef tenderloin has been just kind of doing this marinated thing in the refrigerator for about 4 or 5 hours. You could go 5, 6, 7, 8. You could even go overnight. That'd be absolutely fine. We're going to pull it out of the bag. And actually, I pulled mine out of the fridge, left it in the bag for about an hour ago to let it come up to room temperature, because you want meat, you want tenderloin like this to be room temperature before we cut it. Now, grab the herbs off like I did here. Don't they've done their job. You're not really want to cook them with the meat, or they're going to become tender. Then what we're going to do is grab our salt and pepper, which are the real flavor enhancers on tenderloin like this. Really all meat. And you want to get it all seasoned all over the place. You want to get the top, you want to get the bottom, you want to get the sides. And this is a gigantic hunkin' piece of meat. So don't be shy about the amount of seasoning at all in any way, shape, or form. Just go ahead and flip it over. Now, one of the things I'll show you is this side. It's smaller than the other side, than this, obviously this thicker side. And so that skinnier side is going to cook faster than the other side, which is great if you've got like a family. Some people like it medium, some people like it medium rare. Well, that side is going to be, the skinnier side is going to be more cooked than the other side. And really the same kind of thing if, I'm doing mine in the pan, the oven. If you do it on the grill, you can kind of get the same thing if you put that thicker side on the hotter side of the grill, put the skinnier side on the lower side of the grill. That'll help cook it more evenly. I've got one more strip here that needs a little bit more salt and pepper. We're going to cover those. I'm going to let this go for about 10 minutes or so. Let that salt melt in, which is going to help form the crust on the filet. And then we're going to be good to go with roasting this off in just a minute. All right, so super high heat is important in cooking any meat, certainly tenderloin like this. A little bit of olive oil in a pan that's already nice and hot. You should see kind of a little shimmering on the oil there. You don't really want any smoking, but a little bit is going to be fine. So now we're going to grab our gigantic piece of tenderloin here and lay it down in the pan. You should hear a nice sizzle. If you don't, pan's too cold, let it heat up a little bit. Now mine's got a little bit of bend in it like this. My pan's a little small, but it's not too crowded. The bend's not going to hurt anybody, so that'll be fine. All right, so it doesn't take long for us to sear one side. You're looking for a nice golden brown, dark color on it. That's where the flavor comes in. You're going to rotate the tenderloin to get the other side. And eventually we're going to do all sides, get them nice and brown like this. So move the whole tenderloin into a 400-degree oven. I'm using one of these meat thermometers. You stick it right into the thickest part, and I'm looking for 125 degrees internal temperature. Okay, so I took the tenderloin out of the oven now. My temperature is 115 on it, and I just want to check it. So the underside here tends to get a little bit browner on a heavy gauge pan like this, which is totally fine. I just don't want it to really cook anymore. So took out the thermometer. We're just going to flip it over and let that other side kind of cook a little bit. You see how beautifully brown that is? I'm going to stick the thermometer back in there to get to my 125. I'm at 115 now. You don't want to stick it 100 times, but you know, once or twice is okay. You're not going to kill yourself. Then I'm going to take this whole thing, I'm going to throw it back in the oven. Probably got another just 7 or 8 minutes to get to 125 or so, and we'll be perfect. All right, I'm going to pull my tenderloin out of the oven now. My thermometer is 130. I am slightly over where I like it, but 130 is still going to be absolutely fine. Certainly not going to be over medium. You're going to pull it out. You got to let it rest for at least 10 minutes or so before we cut into it. All right, 10 minutes have passed. That's the time to get all your sides done. Now we've got our moment of truth. Now, my tenderloin had these little strings on it, so I'm going to go ahead and pull those off. And then we're going to go ahead and slice into it. Now, remember, this is the thin side, so it's going to be more cooked than the other side. And this is, you know, probably medium well or so. I don't see a ton of pink in there, but you know, fortunately, my mother is going to love that for our dinner. Now, if we go ahead and flip it around or go to the other side, we can take a look and see how we did on this side. Again, thicker, it's going to cook slower. And what we should see is a little bit of pink in there. Yes, that is what I'm looking for. Nice medium rare. Perfect, and I will see you next time on No Recipe Required. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. I absolutely love doing this beef tenderloin whole roasted. It's one of my favorites to do. Another favorite is an individual filet mignon. I'll show you how to do it right here in this link, how to cook it perfectly every time. And one of my favorite steakhouse side dishes, potato gratin. Go ahead, check it out, and don't forget to subscribe because I'm putting new videos up every single week. And I'll talk to you later at No Recipe Required.